Photography can be a phenomenal hobby and a chance to see the world in a way that no one else does. But before you think about buying anything, watch this video.
I've got in front of me what I deem to be the most budget-friendly and best bang for buck setup you can get in 2025 going into 2026. So when I got into photography, I was trying to decide what brands I should go down the route of. And the big hitters out there today are Sony, Nikon, Canon, and probably Fujifilm. I chose to go with Canon. The reason I chose Canon is because if you look year on year, they have the biggest market share. Most people shoot with Canon, which for me meant that there was going to be a big second-hand market to both buy and sell my stuff. So I went with Canon, and I haven't regretted that ever since, and I've had no will whatsoever to move to a different brand. So then it comes to looking at which camera you're going to buy, and for that, I recommend you go for the Canon R8. And I've just used some kitchen roll because I didn't have any sort of posh velvet cloths. Sweet. So I recommend this, the Canon R8. Why do I recommend the Canon R8? Well, it is Canon's budget full frame camera. What do I mean by full frame? Well, just behind here, you will see the sensor, which if that focuses, hopefully it does, you can make out that is a full frame sensor. What's the difference between a full frame sensor and a crop sensor, APS-C, or a medium format sensor? Well, that is a subject for a whole other time. I think the best way to explain it is APS-C is essentially a smaller full frame sensor. Think about it, that sensors cost a lot of money. We don't want to have huge sensors, or we do, but it's going to cost a lot of money. So an APS-C is also known as a crop sensor, and it is a budget-friendly option. My first camera I ever got was a Canon R10, which was a crop sensor. Now, it depends massively on your shooting style. I am not massively into wildlife photography. I do enjoy it, but it's not primarily what I'm out to do. I enjoy landscape photography, maybe a bit of street photography, and just documenting my travel. For that, APS-C crop sensor was not suitable for me. I found when I went out with my friend shooting in the Smoky Mountains, he'd set up his tripod and start shooting, and I'd have to stand maybe 10 steps behind him to get the exact same framing. I found it quite frustrating, so I decided that I need to upgrade to full frame. Full frame, which, as I've explained, is the Canon R8, has a few benefits to it. Firstly, if you put a 30mm lens on it, you will get a 30mm picture. If you use a crop sensor, you're cropping into that 30mm by 1.6 times. So that would be
48mm. Yeah, I just had to dub over that bit because the audio went a bit weird. Yeah.
A lot to say. Essentially, APS-C can be pretty awkward unless you're looking to shoot wildlife where you need that extra reach. There's plenty of videos that explain the differences, but I think full frame, which is what the Canon R8 is the perfect beginner's camera. You won't have any of those issues with feeling like you're too close to the subjects all the time, and they let in plenty of light as well. So in darker situations, because that sensor's bigger, you're letting more light in. There's no point buying a really expensive f1.2 lens which lets in loads of light, but the sensor at the very end that's receiving that light only receives a fraction. So I chose to go with full frame, and the Canon R8 is Canon's budget full frame camera. It is the first in their lineup, and it shares many of the same features as the rest of the lineup. In my opinion, this is the best value for money camera that Canon do. So what's so good about this camera? Well, it's 24.2 megapixels, it's full frame as I've already mentioned. You can record uncropped up to 4K, if it's 4K and 60 frames per second, if that's your thing. And it's got a great autofocus on it as well. Look, if you're looking at maybe DSLRs instead of mirrorless cameras, I'd probably steer you more towards mirrorless because the autofocus on them is incredible. In case you don't know, DSLRs were the predecessor to mirrorless. I chose to go mirrorless because that's where the market's going. That's where the whole industry is right now. So, not to say it's future-proofed, because that's a greasy salesman's tactic to use that phrase, but it's where the market is at the moment, and it looks like it's where it's staying. So shooting mirrorless is great because, and I should say, like, the Canon R line is Canon's mirrorless line range. It's great because it's easier for a start. You can see what the picture's going to look like before you even press the shutter button. So trying to get into this hobby now in 2025, 2026, it's a no-brainer. It's so much easier than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. So it's a mirrorless camera, which makes it easier. 24 megapixels. It's ergonomically brilliant. It weighs nothing. They say the best camera is the camera that you always have with you, and that's probably why iPhone is the most shot camera in the world, because everyone's got their iPhone with them. Well, having a camera that weighs nothing like this is perfect. I've taken this everywhere with me, quite literally all around the world, and not had any issues with it. It's absolutely fantastic. Can't recommend it enough. So I recommend this, the Canon R8. It retails brand new at $1,400 Now that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. And there's no denying that getting into this hobby, even if you go for the budget option, is going to be quite expensive. However, for this camera and for the 3 lenses that I'm going to put before you now, I really recommend that you go second-hand. This camera plus 2 of these lenses, I went second-hand. I bought them from mpb.com. And I'm not sponsored by them, they're not sponsored me, I have no affiliation, but I really recommend, if you want to get in this hobby, go second-hand. And if you buy from a website such as MPB, you are buying something with a warranty. I've never had any issues. There's not many horror stories online of people that have had issues. If people have had issues, MPB have quickly dealt with it. So I recommend using them over, say, eBay or Facebook Marketplace, or from Craigslist or something. So I've got 3 lenses in front of me now. The lens that I bought for this, and the lens that stays on my camera for 99% of my shooting scenario is this. It's the Canon RF 24-105 f4. This is an absolute beast. I use it when I'm traveling. I use it when I'm doing landscape photography, street photography. It's got such a wide focal length, 24mm, which is really wide. It's wider than your eye sees, all the way down to 105mm. So when you zoom in that far, you are pretty much getting a telephoto effect there. You get a lot of lens compression, and being an f4 lens, even if you're up at 70, 85, 105mm, you are going to get lots of bokeh depending on or bokeh depending on how you have your subject set up. It's an f4 throughout the whole zoom range. Is that an issue? I don't think so. I don't really shoot at night, and if I do, mirrorless cameras, even the Canon R8, because it's a mirrorless camera, its ability to deal with ISO is brilliant. You can be up at 6,000, 12,800, and it's completely manageable, especially with post-production sort of editing tools such as Lightroom and Topaz for getting out the grain on your images that the ISO brings in. I don't think f4 is an issue at all. I've not had an issue with it. Now, I'll point out this is an L series lens. An L series lens is Canon's premium line of lenses. It's their exclusive luxury line. Yeah, that's indicated by this red ring going around the lens. Is that so? Is it necessary to get this? Actually, no. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you maybe a better option that you can go for, which actually hadn't been released by the time I purchased this lens, which I think for a budget first time shooter might actually be a more appropriate lens to go with. But it wasn't around when I first got into that lens that I'll tell you about at the end. Wasn't around when I got into photography, so I went for this 24-105. I think it's brilliant. They market it brand new for $1,400 but as I said, second-hand MPB, you can buy something like this in excellent condition for $950. So again, second-hand is the way forward. I should point out as well, it's got built-in image stabilization, and it is fully weather sealed as well. That is the 24-105 f4. So where would I go from there? Well, this is going to be able to cover 99% of your shooting needs. So if you've got something like that, why do you need anything else? That's a good question. If you're into landscape photography, you're probably going to want a telephoto lens. Same if you're into wildlife photography. So for that, I recommend this, and this lens is probably the biggest bargain on the market today. I can't believe it's this cheap. I think it's an absolutely incredible lens, and if you Google it, it's reviewed extremely well. And that lens is the RF 100 to 400 f5.6 to f8. This is the size of a beer can or a Monster Energy can. It weighs nothing. It weighs less than a can of beer. What it does have is inbuilt stabilization. So you are getting a 100 to 400 mil IBIS telephoto lens for the price of $749 brand new, or $600 from MPB. This lens has taken some of the best photos that I've ever taken. That zoom range is brilliant, 100 to 400, particularly for landscape photography, particularly for isolating your subject, birds, wildlife. You can do that with this lens, and it weighs nothing. You can literally fill it in your jacket pocket and no one will be able to tell. It's so light. It's the lightest lens I own. If you're going to buy one other lens other than this, I would say get this. So I think this is fantastic. The next version of this is going to be the Canon RF 100 to 500, and that retails at about, I think it's about $3,000. So your options really for a telephoto lens up to 400 mil is going to be this, and it is fantastic. Probably my favourite lens, just because of how cheap it was. This is no doubt, the 24 to 1.5 is no doubt better quality, but this is, for the value for money, fantastic purchase. I can't recommend it enough. Alright, finally, to be honest with you, I think I've told you enough of what you need really. I'd say the RA and this lens will keep you sweet for 99% of the photos you're going to take. If you are into landscape or wildlife, purchase this, and it doesn't cost much and it's brilliant. Now, I bought this lens because I was going on a trip to Utah and I was going to be going into slot canyons, and I thought a wide angle lens would be appropriate. And I just love buying camera equipment. But I'm making this video because I don't want you to fall into the same traps I did. So I bought this, which is the RF 16 to 28 f2.8 IS STM. That is a lot of letters and a lot of words. What does it mean? Well, it's 16 to 28 mil, so it's definitely going to be good for the wider photos. To be honest with you though, I actually find wide angle photography pretty difficult. You really have to compose your frame. There's a lot in the frame and you need to make every single part of that frame interesting, and it can be pretty difficult to do, especially at 16mm. So I haven't used this a great deal. I've used it once at Mesa Arch in Utah. The picture's coming up now. So yeah, one time I used it there. And other than that, I tend to just shoot my videos using this lens, which is why I'm using a backup lens. If you're seeing the focus go out, because I'm using a lot cheaper lens on my camera at the moment. This is what I use mainly for recording, because you get that wide angle, so it's perfect when I'm sat here talking. But other than that, I struggle with wide angle photography. I need to educate myself, watch some videos, and get better, because I haven't used it as much as I wanted to. But if you are, the reason I'm putting this here in front of you today is because if you're not interested in the telephoto side and you are interested in wide angle, why would you want to use wide angle photography? Why would you want to use a lens like this? Probably astrophotography. It's an f2.8, so that aperture opens really wide. You're going to get a lot of light coming in, and at that nice wide 16 to 28mm, you're going to capture a lot. $1,140 on Canon's website, and you can pick them up secondhand in excellent condition for $999. There's a few quite a bit cheaper actually on MPB. That was just the first one I saw. I bought this not too long ago actually. It was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. But there has been another lens come out since, which is an L series, and it's in the same sort of budget-friendly line as these previously two mentioned lenses. And that is, I've had to write it down so I get it right, is the RF 28 to 70 f2.8. 28 to 70 is a brilliant range. As I said at the start of this video, really sort of 24, 28 to 70 is the range that you can use for 90% of your photos. It's a perfect range. The upgrade from that lens would be the 24 to 70 f2.8, and that comes in at $2,500. So this coming in at $959 on MPB, or $1,100 brand new. It's a great offer. So if I was you, 3 lenses I'd pick would be the, first and foremost, the 28 to 70 f2.8, or if you want that extra reach all the way up to 105 and your budget can fit it in, I would go for this, the 24 to 105 f4. From there, you need to ask yourself, what am I going to be photographing? Am I into wildlife, landscapes? Then I'd recommend this, which is probably my favourite lens, the RF 100 to 400. And then if you do want to go for some wide angle shots, that's more your thing, you're interested in wide angle photography, because if it's done well, it looks incredible, then I'm going to recommend this, which is the 16 to 28 f2.8. These three lenses are my holy trinity. I've taken the majority of my photos with these two lenses here, and this camera has been my workhorse for the last several years, and I thoroughly recommend it. Hey, thanks very much. There are billions of videos you can watch on YouTube, and you've just listened to me give financial advice for the last 5 minutes, and I appreciate that. So if you liked it, click subscribe, and you'll hear from me again soon. Thanks very much. See ya.
Click this video and check me out using the Canon R8 in Yosemite National Park.